deal with God and death and destruction is sing the song of Jesus. When you're dealing with the death and destruction of a nation, you're dealing with the song of Moses. Now, let's go back to Dr. King. Dr. King was waking up. Dr. King was about to become one of the greatest leaders this country ever had. And let's see what song Dr. King was singing.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Now, let's reflect upon this for a few moments. Now, remember, earlier in the broadcast, I played you clips of Dr. King talking about, us getting money, land, freedom. This is the, for those that may not know, I may have some young listeners, so I need to do a better job of not assuming that everybody knows this history, because there may be some young brothers and sisters out there that, don't know specifically how to find these things. That's Dr. King's I've been to the mountaintop speech. That speech was made the night before he was murdered the next day. Okay? And Dr. King was not singing the song of Jesus that he sung throughout the civil rights marches. The civil rights marches, now, and I want to make something perfectly clear. When I say the song of Jesus, yeah, it's the song of Jesus, but it's misapplied. Because the song of Jesus is for your brother. What do I mean? When you sing the song of Jesus, you don't sing it to your mortal enemy. You sing it to your brother that's mistreating you. Like in your house. There was a rule in my house that my mother and my stepdad told me that I couldn't hit my baby brother. I couldn't put my hands on him. If I had a problem with him, I had to tell them. Okay? That's the song of Jesus. But I tell you what, my stepdad, he didn't tell me nothing about no song of Jesus if I came home crying because somebody hit me at school. It wasn't a song of Jesus then. It was a song of Moses, in a sense, like, boy, you better not come home if somebody gonna put their hands on you. Or I'm gonna put my hands on you. See, the song changed. And that's what happened with Dr. King. The song changed. He woke up. He was singing the song of he was killed. Now, that's the mountaintop speech. I want to, before I move on off Dr. King, I want to address something here, and I'm going to reference Farrakhan back in this also. Now, I haven't posted it yet, but it's on YouTube. I will link it to my site, the warofchrist.com. Here is wisdom.com. I will link it. But I have a video series done by a brother by the name of Steve Coakley concerning Dr. King. And you can find some references with Dick Gregory also, the comedian, the black comedian Dick Gregory. And let me say this, because I'm about to say something that's, you know, that people may say, oh, my God, I can't believe he said that, or you better watch yourself. You know, I'm going to tell you something. You know, believe me, if a man gets on the radio saying the things I'm saying, he better believe in God. He better have God with him or somebody with him, because you get on the radio speaking this truth about white folks, about Dr. King, what really happened, how black folks been tricked. You know, you become marked for death. You know, like Dr. King became marked for death. Any black leader that stood up became marked for death. I know that, but that's not my subject. My subject, I'm going to close on Dr. King, and I want to talk about something. Remember, I told you there's going to be blood in the street when the food runs out and this kind of thing. People are not going to let their children starve. It's about to be revolution in this country. It's coming. It's right here. In this documentary series by Steve Coakley, and it's on. If you go to it'll be posted on War of Christ. I'm just going to tell you about it. Excuse me for stumbling over my words. As I said, this is my first foray into the media sphere. See, Dr. King was set up. Let's talk about Dr. King's assassination. See, Dr. King, when he was in Memphis, Tennessee, that's where he got assassinated or murdered. Dr. King was scheduled to stay in a white hotel, okay? But the FBI assumed that Dr. King was going to stay at the Lorraine Hotel, the black hotel, and that's where it was set up for him to be murdered. Well, the FBI got word that he was going to be at the white hotel. You know, Dr. King didn't make his itinerary. You know, it must have been Abernathy or some other, person in the organization that made the reservations. Well, the government made a mistake. Like, man, he's going to be at the white hotel, and their assassin was at the black one. So what they did, the FBI started putting in the news or threatening King, like, man, you for black rights and black this, but you stand at a white hotel, and they were going to embarrass him in the media. So when they got back to Dr. King, there was only they went. I think the Lorraine Hotel is the only black hotel in Memphis. Don't quote me on that, but it was a prominent black hotel in Memphis. So they went to the Lorraine Hotel. Of course, that's where he was assassinated. But if you go back and you look at the assassination photographs, see Dr. King, Andrew Young, Ralph Abernathy, they were on their way to a function. I don't know whether it was a church gathering or it was a shirt and tie function. Now, when you look at those pictures, everybody's wearing shirt and tie because they're going to an important meeting. But look at Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson is not wearing a shirt and tie. Jesse Jackson is wearing a turtleneck. Okay? Jesse Jackson was told, see, what was supposed to have happened was Dr. King, Andrew Young, and Abernathy was supposed to get it. But they didn't because they was all wearing ties, and Jesse Jackson was told not to wear a tie, else he's going to get shot. Okay? Now, so what happened? Dr. King got assassinated. Okay? Now, if you go back and get that mountaintop speech I just played for you, if you get the whole speech, and listen, it's about 20 minutes long, Dr. King said his best friend in the world was Reverend Ralph Abernathy. That was his best friend. And Jesse Jackson was on stage. At the end of that speech, when Dr. King said he's seen the coming of the glory of the Lord, Jesse Jackson was standing behind Dr. King. Go watch the video. Jesse Jackson opened his arms to hug Dr. King. Dr. King turned his back, and Ralph Abernathy held him. Because Dr. King knew he was about to be killed. See, Jesse Jackson loves being called Reverend, as Elijah Muhammad said. Jesse Jackson wanted the spotlight. Even so today, even with President Barack Obama, he was jealous of President Barack Obama, and they caught him on tape. You can go on the news, on YouTube, and see the video. They had that mic on, and Jesse Jackson told the brother, excuse me for saying, I'm not going to get too vulgar, somebody need to cut his balls off. He's talking about Barack Obama. Jesse Jackson said he wanted to cut Barack Obama's testicles off. That was on the news. What kind of man is that? And quite frankly, I don't care what Jesse Jackson thinks of me or who in the government he can call to have me taken out. I'm not worried about that stuff. But Jesse Jackson, after Dr. King was murdered, Jesse Jackson took both of his hands, put both of his hands in the blood of Dr. King and wiped it on his shirt, and then went on the news. And then the media made Reverend Jackson the new black leader. And what happened to the civil rights movement when Jesse Jackson got in? Martin was taken out, and Jesse Jackson was put in, selected as our leader. Nothing. The civil rights movement fizzled. What Dr. King was planning on doing, going to Washington and getting a check and that history about Reconstruction and getting reparations. Dr. King was militant. He's gone. Reverend Jesse Jackson ain't never told you he's gonna go anywhere and get you anything like money, like that. Okay, so Jesse Jackson, whatever his specific or in-depth role in the murder of Dr. King was, I can't tell you, but it's obvious from the evidence. Turtleneck shirt, putting his blood. The man put his hands in Dr. King's blood and wiped it on his shirt. The reason why I bring this up is because, this is the day of judgment. These people are going to have to answer, for holding us down. See, what you got to understand is this. When you take out a black leader, like a Dr. King, or Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, when you take out these men, what you are doing is that you are plucking the eyes out of the black nation, people that can see the leaders. So when these sellouts do this to our black leaders, they did it to us. Just like Jesus said, as you have done to the least of these my brothers, you've done it unto me. Jesse Jackson did that to me and you. Dr. King never had the chance to go to Washington with his power and influence and get us some reparations. He wasn't given that chance because of sellouts like Jesse Jackson. And let me tell you something else about this Farrakhan fella. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that the Nation of Islam and the Fruit of Islam is listening to me right now. I don't care. If you're going to do something about it, do it. That's if Allah allows you to, but I'm going to tell the truth. And I'm not hiding, by the way. I was there, and I've been in their temples. I'm not hiding from these people. But somebody's got to face something. Went to the meeting with Farrakhan after he entertained everybody. Now, I done told you there's a famine. I done told you that China lost 40% of its crops. I played the clip for you. You got mothers, black mothers and children in Atlanta, Georgia, starving because they didn't get no food stamps. That's coming to Detroit. That's coming to Chicago. That's coming to New York. That's coming to Pennsylvania. That's coming to Mississippi. That's coming to Los Angeles. It's coming for you.